Diamonds, Dukes, and Freight Trains are just some of the new releases into the simulation world last week. Hi there folks, my name's NovaWrap and welcome to the NovaWrap, your one-stop location for all your simulation release news and goings on from the week that was. So here we are on the 12th of May 2024 and happy Mother's Day to all the virtual simulators, simulating mothers out there in the world. I hope you all had a wonderful or having a wonderful day. Now, as we start here with the releases for the flight and ground simulation world this week, let's jump straight into it with the release from the team over at Skyward Simulations with the release of their first product for Microsoft Flight Simulator with the release of their DA50RG. So, the DA50RG is the latest aircraft from Diamond Aviation and continues on with their aim of providing accessible and affordable aviation to all and still providing us with a touch of luxury. And the DA50 is based on a tried and true tested design with their nice, very distinctive long wingspan of an aircraft and continuing on with their Jet A1 diesel powered engines, but offering it in a retractable gear single engine airframe. And this aircraft has got a number of interesting performance stats in the fact that it's one of the most economical in the larger sort of touring range of their product range, but still providing spacious comfort and plenty of cargo. So this aircraft comes to us from, as I said, from new developer Skyward Simulations, and overall it's a pretty damn good release. I was very fortunate enough to be able to get a preview copy of this aircraft, and there's a preview video review of this aircraft available here on the channel if you'd like to go and check it out. And overall I was pretty impressed by it. It gives a very accurate 3D model referring to online resources for the real aircraft. The textures are pretty good, overall giving a great experience, and it's really interesting because Diamond aircraft quickly became a very much a favorite of mine over the last few years. When my first one that I got to fly was in Flight Sim World, and I've very much become a bit of a fan of Diamond Aviation. They've got a great cockpit layout, very ergonomic design, and it's a very comforting and very gentle, docile aircraft to fly. So the team over at Skyward Simulations have definitely captured the flight model of the aircraft very, very well. They've captured the performance great. It's got custom coded systems, including the engine control unit and the de-icing system. It's got a full model simulation of the engine ground idle functionality with an accurate flight model and working titles, support for working title Garmin avionics. The sound set is also pretty damn good for this one, which is provided by Boris Audio Works. Now, if you wanted to pick this one up and add this one to your collection, you can pick this one up for $16 or your original equivalent, available either directly from Skyward Simulations or available over at Orbix Direct. Continuing on with aircraft releases, the team over at Black Square released this week their long-awaited Duke aircraft, and it's in two distinct flavors. For those who don't know, the Duke is a aircraft that is incredibly iconic with its sort of raked back tail. It literally is a baby King Air, this aircraft. For those who fly in X-Plane, you would probably be more familiar with this one because I think this one was a popular aircraft in X-Plane. But it comes in two different versions. It comes in both a piston and a turbine version, and the team over at Black Square have chosen to take on the challenge of producing both variants and make them available to the Microsoft Flight Simulator public. So this comes to us from the team over Black Square. They have become rapidly risen as a developer that is known for its quality and known for its detailed features in its creations of its aircraft, providing high detailed custom 3D models, both interior and externally, providing custom high quality textures, custom high quality liveries, with a number of different features for this one. Full sets of custom avionics supported across both aircraft, including support for the old ancient KLN90B original GPS. That's old school GPS. I remember using a system very similar to that one in my early days of flying. They've got a whole heap of new custom effects, including support for engine preheating. So if you're operating in an area where it is rather chilly, you will actually need to preheat the engine, both whether you're using the piston engine variant or the turbine engine variant. They've got a full custom coding for the engines, the engine modeling, and the engine damage modeling. So if you don't treat the engines right, they will fail on you. So that is something to be aware of, and it's nice to see this kind of persistent state sort of idea becoming more and more common and more accessible to the community. And I think it's a really great way to be able to, enhance our immersion into our simulators by the fact that, you if you want to yank and bank, you absolutely can. But if you want to treat it like a real aircraft, you absolutely can. And that is a great thing for us as a overall community. Coming in through there, so there's a custom coding of the avionics, custom code of engine modeling. They've got a whole suite of extra features. A couple of interesting new effects have also included here. Suppose they're sort of harking back a little bit to the previous week's release from Parallel 42 with their sort of environmental system. This one also supports St. Elmo's fire in severe weather, which is kind of cool. I'm looking forward to seeing that in action. Now, as I said, this comes into two different versions. So you do get the turbine engine variant with custom turboprop dynamics, with custom turbine engine failures, as well as different FOD damage possibilities based on the surface type that you are actually landing and taking off and taxiing on, which is kind of interesting. The piston engine variant, as I said, also comes, funnily enough, is a custom model of the piston engines for this one, with different with custom physics-based engine simulations, with different modeling of the propeller hub and a physics-based sound system for that as well. Probably something that I didn't mention earlier as well is that the piston engine version includes you get two full price of one version. You get the base factory B60 Duke, but you also get the Grand Duke, which was the uprated engine and uprated performance version of the piston engine Duke. Now, each of these packages is available individually for $48. So you can get either the Turbine Duke or the Piston Duke for $48, or you can get both different types of Dukes together in a single bundle pack for $70, or your original equivalent, available now from Just Flight. Continuing on with Microsoft Flight Simulator releases, but moving into scenery releases now. The team over at Clifford Designs have released their Manila Bay scenery package. So Clifford Designs, as many of you may know, has actually specialized in producing large, sort of wide-ranging scenario packs of regional destinations around the world, and giving us particularly those of us who fly amphibians or for the helicopter mafia, some great places to visit and go and experience. And this release looks like it will not disappoint either. So this one gives basically the picturesque tropical scenery of Manila Bay in the Philippines, including a number of custom POIs, custom modeling, custom detailed data for the entire region, with hand-placed various different effects, including rock formations, a detailed coastline, a number of different helipads, drivable roads, which is an interesting thing to include in here, considering we've got quite a few ground vehicles now available in Microsoft Flight Simulator, as well as custom models for the various numbers of historical sites, including Corridorga Island and Fort Drum. Now, you do get 6 different airfields included with this one, mostly sort of like your GA strips here, but one sort of relatively larger airport as well, along with a variety of helipads and amphibious start points available throughout. Now, if you wanted to pick this one up and add this one to a collection, you pick this one up for $14, or your regional equivalent, available now from Sim Markets. And getting up to a little bit bigger size now, the team over at UK 2000 have released their rendition of North Palm Beach Airport in the United States, in Florida. In fact, in Florida, America's won't finish that quote anyway. So this is a civilian GA airport operated in Florida, with 3 runways, 2 hard surface, 1 grass, all airport buildings modelled as they appear at the start of 2024. So very, very up to date for something in this sim. Including custom ground markings, all airport buildings modelled, custom night effects, various different airport vehicles and static aircraft included, custom signage, vegetation and fencing used throughout. And I've got to admit that looking through the pictures of the publicity shots for this one, I'm really impressed. Like, I was a bit worried for a while about UK 2000 where they were going with their development, but I think this one, for me, I know it's a smaller airport, but this I think is probably one of the better releases that I've seen. As I said, only looking at I don't have it. I'm only looking at the publicity shots. But for me, this one's sort of standing out as potentially one of their better releases that I've seen from them in a recent while. So, if you want to pick this one up, you can pick this one up for $11 or original equivalent from Sim Market or from the InSim store. Continuing on with the Microsoft Flight Simulator releases now, the team over at FSDG have released their latest airport release of Teruel Airport, also known as the Storage Airport in Spain. So this airport first came to my attention while doing some research for something else, actually, for a couple of years ago. This airport came to sort of prominence around the time of the pandemic because it is an airport. Basically, this is Europe. This is Europe's boneyard. So this is where a lot of aircraft go into if they're going into long-term storage. Because of where it is in Spain, it is actually essentially a high-altitude desert. So it's a very dry air, low humidity, and it is perfect for preserving aircraft. The Asian one is actually in Alice Springs in Australia. So it was an interesting thing to see that there is one of these sites available in Europe, and there's some pictures of it during the height of its when it was sort of packed to capacity at the end during the pandemic was quite impressive. But it continues to be a source, or providing a source of location to store aircraft. Though many of those aircraft are starting to return to service now, so there's a bit less traffic there. But it becomes an interesting little airport to visit, either in the real life or now virtually in the simulator. Along with providing the aircraft storage services, it also serves as the home of a private space facility, a space rocket engine testing facility. So that's kind of cool and interesting as well. So this is a airport, as all airport buildings are modelled with authentic ground markings, authentic lights, and authentic markings applied to all buildings, with all custom parked aircraft and modelled based off aircraft that are actually there at the moment or were there recently. Custom includes a custom support for GSX as well, that I think you'd really need much GSX there because, this is where aircraft go to die or go to start a new lease on life. But overall, looking at the pictures, overall looks pretty solid. I think some of the interface between taxiways and ground poly probably could be better, but it's interesting. It's definitely an interesting airport to look at, that's for sure. But if you want to pick this one up and add this one to your collection, you can pick this one up for $14 or your original equivalent, available now from Sim Market. Rounding out the Microsoft Flight Simulator release news this week, the team over at Backwoods Studios have released their latest airport release of Eddsfield Airport in the United Kingdom. So this is a small GA airport in the UK and is essentially a farm strip, this one. So this is something that's very, very common in Australia and in America. I think it's a little less common in the UK, though I'm happy to be proven wrong on that one. But it's essentially, it's a small single runway grass strip for GA aircraft. And this one is a really interesting. I really like Backwoods Studios' design philosophy of providing sort of unique experiences somewhere different from the world, from the more traditional airports. And I think this one fits in with their philosophy pretty damn well. So you get custom ground models for the airport buildings. Not that there's a lot. You get sort of use of some default assets as well. But it's really interesting, just providing a interesting little look into rural and regional aviation. You get custom ground photoreal imagery supplied for the area, along with 50 kilometers of custom roads again. So yet another release sort of putting in their information about roads. So I think if you haven't already grabbed Parallel 42's Juice Goose, you should probably grab that, because I think it's going to be something that is going to be an experience for in simulators moving forward. I think you should do. Includes automated hangar doors with custom 3D modeled buildings, vehicles, and animated people and farm life, and custom night lighting support as well. Now, if you want to add this one to your collection, you can pick this one up for $6 or your original equivalent, available now from Orbix Direct. Moving out of Microsoft Flight Simulator now, moving to the world of X-Plane. The team over at X-Trident have made a triumphant return and come along to X-Plane 12 with a release of their Augusta Westland AW109SP. So the AW109 is probably one of my favorite helicopters. Is just absolutely is. I love the design of it. Always have many years. My two favorite helicopters are probably the A109 and the Dauphin. They are probably my absolute two favorites. Anyway, moving on. So this gives a high detail 3D model of the aircraft internally and externally with a custom coded instrumentation, including full support for full digital instrument panel with dual EDUs, dual RTUs, 4 EFIS systems, a custom elevation map with standby instruments and weather radar available as well for support for this one. Includes crew alerting system, oral warning system, and friction and functional switches, circuit breakers, buttons, and fuel management panel. So yes, for those of you who like pushing circuit breakers and pulling them out, you absolutely can do it in this aircraft. It also includes a custom-coded 4-channel autopilot system with a custom flight model with full support for auto rotation and VRS, because I know apparently it's all about VRS in helicopter simulation, which uses a native setup in X-Plane 11 and a custom implementation in X-Plane 12. Includes a number of liveries and overall looking like a pretty damn highly detailed rendition of this aircraft. Now, if you want to pick this one up and add this one to your collection, you can pick this one up for $45 US or your original equivalent, available now from xplane.org. And finally, rounding out the NovaWrap for this week, we move into the permanent way with the release for Train Sim World 4, the release of Cargo Line Volume 2 Aggregates. So apparently this is going to be all about you hauling lumps of rock. So maybe there's some diamonds on their way to a Mother's Day celebration. I don't know. But this gives us a rendition from Skyhook Games of providing a Class 66 traction and pulling a number of cargo loads throughout the UK's rail setups. Includes modern HOA bogie hopper wagons in multiple variants, a Class 66 locomotive with highly detailed feature-rich driving cabs with true-to-life performance and handling. You get 3 scenarios for the Midland Main Line and Great Western Express, plus 2 scenarios for the Southeastern High-Speed Rail Line. You also get a number of additional journey chapters for both the Midland Main Line and Great Western Express. Now, if you want to pick this one up and add this one to your collection, you can pick this one up for $15 US or your original equivalent, available now on Steam. And with that, folks, that does now round out the NovaWrap for this week. Thank you very much for watching. Don't forget, as always, to like the video and subscribe to the channel if you're enjoying these videos and want to see more. And of course, as always, you can catch up with me and all the things I'm up to between videos by following me on Facebook and on Twitter and on Twitch. Just search NovaWing24. All right, folks, thanks very much for watching. Take care, safe skies to all, and we'll see you next time. Bye for now.